When I was United States Poet Laureate, and I love saying that, it's a great way to start sentences. I don't know why, but I wanted desperately to be a poet ever since I was in high school.
My poems are about little things. They're about whether the salt and pepper shakers get along, and that kind of stuff. Walking the dog.
A dog on his master. As young as I look, I am growing older faster than he. 7 to 1 is the ratio they tend to say. Whatever the number, I will pass him one day and take the lead, the way I do on our walks in the woods. And if this ever manages to cross his mind, it would be the sweetest shadow I have ever cast on snow or grass.
I think it starts out with a casual, straightforward tone, trying to just get the reader engaged in the first stanza. I hope the poem, as it goes on, gets more complicated, a little more demanding, a little more ambiguous or speculative, so that we're drifting away from the casual beginning of the poem into something a little more serious.
The country. I wondered about you when you told me never to leave a box of wooden strike-anywhere matches just lying around the house because the mice might get into them and start a fire. But your face was absolutely straight when you twisted the lid down on the round tin where the matches, you said, are always stowed. Who could sleep that night? Who could whisk away the thought of the one unlikely mouse padding along a cold water pipe behind the floral wallpaper, gripping a single wooden match between the needles of his teeth? Who could not see him rounding a corner, the blue tip scratching against a rough-hewn beam, the sudden flare, and the creature, for one bright, shining moment, suddenly thrust ahead of his time, now a fire starter, now a torchbearer in a forgotten ritual, little brown druid illuminating some ancient night. And who could fail to notice, lit up in the blazing insulation, the tiny looks of wonderment on the faces of his fellow mice, one-time inhabitants of what once was your house in the country.
Poetry has become, it's probably the most egotistical of the arts because the self is foregrounded and the self is the subject, the I. I mean, if you're writing fiction or writing plays, you should probably be interested in the lives of other people. That's not required if you're a poet. You need to be interested in your life. So the fiction writer is sort of looking in people's windows and observing their domestic secrets. And the poet is looking out his or her window in the world and talking about, this is how I see it.